Listen to me, because I've got no one else to tell this to but the grinding stones of this cursed mill. And they don't listen. They just chew and spit out flour like the devil's own vomit. My name's Krabat. Or it was once, back when I was a boy, with dirt under my nails and dreams that weren't stained with blood. Now I'm just a shadow that moves when the master wills it. A tongue that stammers prayers to the wind, and eyes that see too much in the grime-slicked corners where the rats feast on secrets. This is my story, pieced together from the scraps of nights I dare to remember, when the moon hangs low like a seath over the black mill, and the river murmurs lies to the reeds. It's a tale of hunger that gnaws deeper than famine, of power that twists like wet rope around your throat, and of a love so fragile it crumbles like the bones we grind into the sacks. If you're wise, you'll turn away now, but fools like me never do. So settle in the muck with me, and let me whisper it before the master hears the echo. It started in the winter of my 14th year, when the plague had stripped the world bare of its whore's promise. I was scavenging the roads near Castle, my belly a hollow drum echoing the howls of the wind. The Black Death had taken my family, Ma coughing up the black, disgusting plague into the straw, Pa's eyes glazing over like frost on a corpse, leaving me to beg from the carts that rattled past, their drivers averting their eyes from my skeletal frame.
Spare crust, good sir. Please, I beg you.
I rasped, my voice already cracking like dry earth, but they whipped their horses faster, as if my touch carried the pestilence itself. The cold seeped into my bones, turning my fingers into claws, and one night, as snow flurried like ashes from a prey, I collapsed by the roadside, the world blurring into a slurry of mud and regret. That's when the dream came. Or was it a dream? A voice slithering into my fevered skull, smooth as oil on water, promising bread and warmth if I'd only follow the crows. 3 black birds wheeled overhead, their cries like laughter from the gallows, leading me through the storm to the hulking silhouette of the mill on the Schwarze Elster. The air reeked of damp rot and something sharper. Sulfur, maybe. Or the tang of fierce sweat from men long broken. The master was waiting, tall as a gibbet, his face a mask of shadows under a wide-brimmed hat. One eye patched, the other like polished coal that burned right through you.
You've come to learn the miller's trade,
he said, his voice a low rumble that vibrated in my chest, and I nodded, too starved to question. What fool turns down salvation when it's wrapped in the promise of porridge? Oh, how I curse that nod now, in the dead hours when the milestones groan like damned souls. Fool, Krabat! I mutter to myself as I sweep the flour dust from the corners, the grit embedding in my skin like tiny accusations. You thought it was Haven, didn't you? a place to mend your rags and fill your gut. But this mill isn't built on grain. It's built on us, on the sweat and screams we pour into its maw. The first days blurred into a haze of labor, hauling sacks heavier than sin up the creaking stairs, my shoulders bruising under the burlap's bite, turning the wheel into my palms blistering and split, the blood mixing with the calf to make a paste that sealed my wounds like a mocking balm. The other journeymen, 11 of them, faces gaunt as mine, eyes hollowed by unspoken horrors, watched me with pitying glances, their hands moving in rot's rhythm, but their lips sealed shut. We slept in the loft, on straw that itched. The river's laps below, a constant whisper.
Stay. Learn. Obey.
The master taught us the ways of the mill, aye, but not the innocent grind of wheat to bread. No, his lessons came at midnight, when the lanterns guttered low, and the shadows stretched like fingers to choke the light. He'd gather us in the grinding room, the air thick with the stench of moldering wood and something fouler. Decay, perhaps, from the bones we'd never speak of.
The mill turns on will.
He'd intune, his voice coiling around us like smoke, and we'd chant the words he'd feed us, that twisted on our tongues like thorns.
Wenden, drehen, malen, unterbrechen.
Turn, rotate, grind, and break. I'd echo, my voice joining the chorus, feeling the power stir in my veins like black ichor, hot and vile. It was magic, dark as the pit, drawn from the earth's grudges and the river's drowned secrets. With a word, we'd summoned winds to fill the sails. When the air hung still, with a gesture, we'd curse a rival's crop to wither. Black spot, blooming like plague, sores on the stalks. But the price, oh God, forgive me, the price. Why didn't I run that first night when the powers surged through me and I saw the master's true face? I ask the rats that skitter in the walls, their eyes beady in the gloom. Because the bread was warm, the bed dry, and the alternative was the grave. You snivering wench. Each year, on the longest night, the master claimed one of us. We'd draw lots in the flickering candlelight, straws trembling in our grimy fists. And the short one, poor bastard, would go to the master's chamber. Come dawn, he'd emerge, changed, or not emerged at all. The first time, it was old Kent, his laughter turning to gurgles as the master drained him. Not of blood, but of life. The spark that makes the man more than meat for the grinder. We found him at the wheel, skin shallow as tallow, eyes staring blind at the turning stones. His body still twitching as if trying to flee the husk it had become. I watched it happen year after year, the mill's rhythm a drench in my ears. You're next, Krabat. The wind would hiss through the cracks, carrying the scent of wet earth and regret. Feel it in your bones, the way they ache for release. The grime never lifted. It layered on, flour dust caking my hair to gray clumps, sweat craving rivets through the filth on my neck. The river's mud sucking at my boots like a lover's grasp turned possessive. We were ghosts in our own skins, whispering incantations that bent the world but broke us finer than any grain. And then came the dream of her, Kantorka, with hair like a raven's wings, and eyes that pierced the gloom like stars in the sewer night. She haunted the edge of my sleep, a girl from the village across the water, glimpsed one market day when the master allowed us out, leashed by his gaze. Beware of Kantorka, the journeyman mothered. But I couldn't heed them. In the dead of night, I leaned from the loft window, the cold stone biting my elbows, and murmured to my darkness, Kantorka, if you can hear me, send a sign. This mill is a tomb, and I'm buried alive. She came, drawn by the pull of forbidden words, or perhaps the stench of our despair wafting on the wind. One fog-shrouded dawn, as I hauled water from the river, its surface oily with the mill's leavings, fish bellies up like pale warnings. She appeared on the bank. Her skirts hitched against the muck. Basket of herbs clutched like a shield.
You have the look of one who's seen the devil's ledger.
She said, her voice soft but steady, cutting through the mist like a blade. We spoke in hushed tones, words tumbling like mill dust, of the master's grip, the turning of the wheel that ground our souls to powder, the lots that doomed us one by one. God, her touch on my arm, rough from the labor, yet it burned cleaner than any fire.
I will help you.
She vowed, her eyes fierce as a storm over the Elster.
The old books speak of breaking such bonds, but it demands a heart's truth.
From there it was stolen moments in the reeds, where the mud sucked at our knees and the air hummed with mosquitoes. She'd smuggle grimoires from her grandmother's hidden cache, tombs bound in cracked leather, pages yellowed and brittled as old skin, smelling of attic and forgotten sins. We'd pore over them by rushlight, my fingers tracing runes that made the shadows writhe. Her breath warm on my neck as she whispered counterspells. Foolish Krabat. I chide myself now, pacing the grinding room as the stones thunder below. You thought love could unmake the master's weave. It only tightened the noose. The master suspected, of course, his eye lingering on me during the chants, a smile curling like smoke from the grave. He doubled the laver. Sacks dragged through knees, deep slurry. The wheel turned till my vision swam with black spots. And at night, the dreams he sent, visions of Kantorka, twisted in agony, her screams echoing the river's roar. The night of the lot came, the air thick as congealed blood, the journeymen's faces masked of sweat, sickened dread. My straw was short, fate's cruel jest, or the master's rigging. Who can say? As they led me to his chamber, the door creaked like the death rattle. I felt the power coil in him, a serpent ready to strike.
You will serve Eternal now.
He purred, his hands cold as grave soil on my shoulders. But in my mind, I screamed to the void, Kantorka! The words, the counter chant, and she was there, in spirit if not in flesh, her voice treading through the haze.
Love me more than he loves power. Swear it with your dying breath.
I did, the words busting from me like bile, raw and ragged.
I love her, master. More than a turning, more than a dark. Let her go free, and take me whole.
The mill shuddered, then stones grinding to a halt. With a wail that split the night, sparks flying like damned stars, the master's face contorted, veins bulging black under his skin, and he lunged, but too late. The bower recoiled, the river surging in fury, flooding the foundation with icy wrath. I felt it tear from me, the magic's hooks ripping free, leaving gashes in my soul that ooze still in quiet moments. He dissolved into shadow and scream, swept into the Elster's maw, his hat bobbing mockingly on the foam before vanishing. We journeymen stumbled out into the dawn, free but flayed, the mill silent as a crypt. Kantorka's waiting on the bank, her arms open but victory tasted of ash. What have we wrought, love? I murmur to the wind now, years later, as I tend my modest farm. The soil clean under my hands, but never quite washing away the grime. We broke the wheel, but its turning echoes in our dreams. And I, Krabat, narrator of my own damnation, wonder if freedom is just another grindstone, waiting to wear us down. The crows still circle sometimes, their cries a reminder. The dark doesn't die. It just finds new mills to turn. And in the quiet, when the river laps at the shore, I hear my own voice, endless, confessing it all over again.